Welcome to the Moose's LZ Bar and Grill Weekend Wrap, where we highlight a few of the storylines that occurred in sprint car racing across the country over the weekend. Before we get to those storylines, don't forget to check out Moose's LZ Bar and Grill for great food at a great price. You won't regret it. We're going to start in Central PA with Buddy Kofoid and his win at Lincoln Speedway last week in the Weldon Sterner Memorial. It was his first victory in the region in only 12 or so starts, which is pretty impressive because invaders don't usually come in and adjust that quickly to the central Pennsylvania surroundings and track surfaces. That being said, I'm not surprised by this at all. I saw Kovoid in 2017 when he was 15 years old at Calistoga Speedway. On that night, he was leading and he was matching Rico Abreu, which at the time was his home track, move for move, and just wouldn't relinquish the lead. It wasn't until a flat tire put Kofoid out of the event that Rico was able to get by. Rico ultimately had a flat as well. But Kofoid showed me on that night that he is one of the best young drivers I've ever seen in this sport. And that's dating back to 1985. The other two who joined that or on that list, Stevie Smith and a guy by the name of Kyle Larson. That's pretty good company. It should be noted at Lincoln, another thing that made this run so impressive, he had to pass Danny Dietrich to win the event. On top of that, he had to hold off Freddie Raymer in lap traffic. Raymer, who had the fastest car, I believe, from the heat races on this night, was all over Kofoid in the corners. Kofoid then made a daring move to split the lap cars of Riley Emig and Kyle Moody coming out of turn 4. And he did it. It's a move that he thought about on the backstretch, which he alluded to later in an interview. Again, watching him knife through traffic, he looked like he raced Lincoln all his life. Now, granted, he had a good car, but he also had a sputtering motor for much of the event. Again, Kofoid alluded to afterward that he could be running Central Pennsylvania in some big events this year. So the locals better watch out because this kid is that good. So stay tuned to see what Kofoid does in the future. Moving to the road, Jacob Allen, World of Outlaws at Lake Ozark Speedway Jason Johnson Classic. The Shark Racing Ace gets his second career World of Outlaws victory and a $15,000 payday to do it. This might have been surprising to some people, not to me, only because of the speed Allen has had this year. Coming into the weekend, he made 7 dashes, which is second to David Gravel with the series. So the fact that Allen was running up front doesn't surprise me at all. Granted, he was dueling with Brady Bacon there in the rubber. He made a couple mistakes, which allowed Bacon to get by. But what impressed me the most is Allen didn't crumble under the pressure. Normally, he would drop back a few spots. David Gravel was chasing Bacon and Allen. But Jacob was able to get up on the wheel. He actually got more aggressive, and he was able to chase down Brady and make a pass for the lead. Now, Brady later had a flat tire about 1-2 laps later. Maybe Bacon was suffering the flat tire a little earlier, and that helped Jacob. That doesn't change the fact that Jacob showed an aggressiveness that I normally don't see from him. So I'm kind of anxious to see if this continues. I'm not ready to say Allen's going to win 5-6 races or be a major player to sit in victory lane every weekend. But I do want to see if this speed and that aggressiveness continues and he takes it into the rest of the season. Now we're going to go out to California, and one guy who doesn't ever lack aggressiveness, and that's Justin Sanders. He was running the Kevin Kozlowski car last weekend, which was wrenched by Paul Silva, and he turned it into wins at Tulare, Thunderbolt Raceway, and also Placerville on Saturday night. The win at Thunderbolt was his first ever at the track, and you could see it in his emotion after the race. It's probably the most emotion or passion that I've seen Sanders display after a win since I've taken notice to the California racing scene. The notable part about Sanders is he's won 4 races this year, 3 different cars, 3 different speedways, different chassis, different motors. It doesn't seem to matter what he gets in. He's running up front. Now, during the event, there was contact made. He put a slider on Shane Golobic. The two made contact. It wasn't side. It wasn't like it was wheel to wheel. It was kind of Sanders's right rear to the left front on Shane Golobic's car. There's been some rumblings about it. Look, Sanders is going for the win. He didn't board him. He didn't send him over the cushion. He didn't wreck his car. There's two guys going for the win, and Sanders is going to stay aggressive. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to go for wins. Sprint car racing's changed. It's become a little like midget racing where you have to get in front of guys and almost block them and whatnot. It was close. It was hard racing. If it happened the other way, I would call it the same way. It really was more of rubbing and whatnot. Unfortunately for Golobic, he fell back to third. As for Sanders, the knock on Sanders has always been that he can't win at certain speedways in California, that he's a bull ring driver. And, that's not true. Justin Sanders can win at any speedway out there anytime. I'm not buying into that rhetoric. I don't know where that comes from. Right now, Sanders is the best driver in California, period. He's had 20 wins twice in his career, including last year. He had 21. Dominic Scelzi had 22. This year, he already has 4. With the situation Sanders in and the people he has behind him, I don't think he's going to slow down anytime soon. So, yeah, you better get used to it. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Moose's LZ Bar and Grill Weekend Wrap. For more coverage of sprint car racing around the country, go to sprintcarunlimited.com, where yearly subscription is $35. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Weekend Wrap. Stay tuned.